Hi, my name is Lee, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the adventures of Max and me. This is Max, and I am me, Lee. I subscribe to quite a few Yorkie YouTube channels. I have some favorites, and I'll list them later, as well as Facebook pages that I subscribe to. But I wanted to tell my story, Max and I's story, because it's a little unique from the other vlogs that I watch or subscribe to, because Max is my service dog. And I wanted to share how he came about being that for me, what it is that he does, what the American Disability Acts um, requires or regulates. I want to get into all of that because as Max and I go out into community, I get a lot of dirty looks because he is a toy breed dog. He's a very expensive dog, as though the only service dogs can be, German Shepherds or Labradors, and it's just not true. So I wanted to tell my story and then just take you on the adventures that Max and me have, and perhaps I can help somebody learn what the truth is and how wonderful dogs are. I'm a huge dog lover, always have been. I grew up always having dogs. Um, we had cats too. They're okay, but I love, love, love my dogs. I'm the mom of 6 kids, and we have 4 dogs. This is probably the most we've had. I always like to have a really big dog because we live in a rural area. We're on an acre and a half, so it's a great place with a big old pond for big dogs. So we have Tyson, who's my Weimaraner. And then I used to be, we bred dogs for years. We bred Rotties, Chow Chows, and the last breed that I would bred was the Chihuahuas, short-haired Chihuahuas. And people raved about my Chihuahuas because they went against the stereotype of them being yapping dogs. My dogs were always socialized very early and never had really a problem with them. Then the last litter that my Chihuahua had, her name is Ginger. She, oh, well, let me finish the dog list. And so then we have a third dog. Her name is Rose, and we kind of inherited her. She's a corgi. She belonged to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law passed a couple years ago, and we've kind of been all of her children have kind of had possession of her at one time or another. And so it's our turn again, I guess. But she's a sweet, sweet dog. Then we have Max. So I want to tell you about the story about how he came to become a service dog or my service dog. With the last litter of Chihuahuas that I had from Ginger, my Chihuahua, she had 5. She's way too small to have 5 babies. One died, and one was born with a deformed leg. And so I did sell all of them, but I would not get rid of the one with the deformed leg. I just think people can be cruel, and I could not sleep at night knowing not knowing what was going on with him. So we kept him, and he's the only one of all the litters she's ever had. And she's only ever had 3 that we kept a pup. But Nemo was very special. And I don't know if it's because he had the deformed leg that I became attached to him. I am attracted to and apparently animals and people who are broken are attracted to me. So we were thick as thieves, Nemo and I. Now this, when I say, was the best dog in the world. Nemo was the best dog in the world. We named him Nemo after the cartoon fish with the underdeveloped fin. And he went with me everywhere. I've never once had to put that dog on a leash. If I got up, he got up. If I sat down, he sat down. He slept with me. He traveled with me. Everybody knew who he was. And he did pretty well with just the 3 full-size legs. The 4th leg, the vet and I decided not to stump him off because even though he couldn't had no movement in the lower half of that leg, he still used it. So we wanted to have him have as much use as possible. So he learned how to maneuver well. He could outrun his mom. He could jump. He could do everything any dog with four legs could do. He was a real champ. He had a great temperament. He was very friendly. None of my dogs are yapping except when they're being territorial, as in if you come in my yard. But I could take him anywhere. And we did. We often went to all the places that were dog friendly. Then one day in 2015, he was about 3 years old then. I was in my kitchen and I just started feeling really dizzy, and I started perspiring heavily, and I passed out. I can remember before it happened, Nemo was acting very strange. He was not a yapper. No one was at the door, but he was barking at me. Um, and so I remember looking down at him like, "What's wrong, boy? What's going on?" And call from he didn't, he's just barking, and then he would tug at my, nip at my legs. But the next thing I knew, I was out. The floor started coming up because I was falling down. I passed out. And the next time it happened, um, I still hadn't put it together that he was warning me. But the next time that it happened, or something bad had happened, it was on December 30th. Well, I passed out several more times, maybe 3 or 4 more times between June of 2015 and I would say November. So by then I knew that he could sense when it was going to happen. Then on December 30th, 2015, I was coming down the stairs, was getting ready to go pick up my daughter from school, and I suddenly felt this huge pain in my chest. I'm trying to put my phone on vibrate. I felt this bad, weird feeling in my chest. And for weeks before then, of course, I wasn't very educated on heart attack symptoms. Um, I had a lot of jaw pain and I had some shoulder pain in my right shoulder. But I just ignored it. And I was coming down the stairs, and this pain hit my chest, like somebody was literally sitting on my chest, to the point that I had to sit down on the stairs. I started sweating profusely, and then as I'm looking around, I could see all these spots, and it was almost like I was looking through a body of water. Things were just distorted in my vision, and I couldn't breathe. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and Nemo again started barking and tugging at me, but then I lost consciousness. And the next thing I know, I heard him barking and he was licking me, and I woke up and I was still feeling the chest pain, still sweating. I don't know how long I was out. It might have been a couple seconds. It might have been a couple minutes. I really don't know to this day. But I had a heart attack, and it was very frightening to me. I'm a relatively young person, and to my knowledge, there's no history of it. Diabetes, yes. Um, Different types of cancers, yes. But heart attacks, I don't recall anyone in my family suffering from heart attacks. So then Nemo went everywhere with me. I looked up the American Disabilities Act to see what qualified as a service dog, and he met the criteria. Um, he didn't need to be trained to do his work. It was instinctual. Well, I'll tell you this funny thing. Then I went to my doctor, of course, um, after the heart attack. I wanted to see what's going on. Why is this happening to me? Um, and I told her what Nemo had done. He was with me. And I said he must really love me like I love him. And she started laughing. I didn't think it was funny, but she started laughing and she said, "I'm sure Nemo loves you, but I have to tell you that when your blood pressure rises suddenly or drops suddenly, your body odor changes." And it offended him. Really? I stunk, and that's why he acted like that. I choose to believe that Nemo just really, really loved me and didn't want me to be in trouble. So all things were fine. I say in March of 2016, I came home and I found Nemo dead on my patio. I was devastated. Yes, I loved him. Yes, he was my pet, but he was also the reason I felt confident to leave my house. And it was horrible. I was devastated. I don't know why he died. We don't know. He didn't have any problems that we knew of. I just found him dead on the floor on my patio. Now, on my patio is where my Weimaraner lives. It's a very big dog. And he gets jealous of the little dogs because he's not allowed in the house. Um, and I hate to think, and for a long time I was mad with Tyson. I was upset with Tyson because I just really believed it had something to do with Tyson. Nemo wasn't poisoned because he wasn't bloated. There was nothing going on with his mouth. He wasn't bit. We didn't find any snake bites. I mean, I do live in the country area, and we do have a lot of, wild critters, but we didn't see any evidence of that. So to me, it's like he was smothered, and he was laying on the floor next to the couch that we gave to Tyson. Um, it took me a while to be friendly again with Tyson. I just felt, I know it wasn't his fault. I know he was doing what dogs do, but I felt like a piece of me was missing. So we got another dog a couple weeks after that. I don't think I was ready. I couldn't bond with that dog. And then we got Max. The place where I purchased my Chihuahuas and that next dog after Nemo, let me know there was a Yorkie. I specifically decided to go with a Yorkie because one, I have a daughter that has a lot of allergies, and Yorkies don't have fur, they have hair, so it wouldn't cause her to be allergic. Two, I needed something more to do, which if you knew what all the things that I do, you'd think I was crazy, but I didn't want a dog that looked like Nemo. I didn't want the same breed anymore. Um, so after researching, I decided I wanted a Yorkie because they are really smart, easy to train. My idea was to get, a registered dog and start showing him. And that would like give me a hobby. I needed a hobby because you have to be real strict about the grooming and the. However, when we got Max, he was about this big. He was about 6 weeks old. He had already been neutered. And I truly believe that was way too early. Sometimes I'm told the breeder neuters them because they want you to pay extra to get dogs from their bloodline, to continue that bloodline. They feel that they should be compensated, whatever. I had no intention to breed again after that last litter with Ginger. So that it was fine ideally, but I think it was too young because when we got him, I'd say within a week, he was peeing blood and going into hypoglycemic shock because he wouldn't eat. He was dehydrated. And I have the most wonderful vet in the entire world. And the owner of the vet, the vet clinic actually, is also a Yorkie owner. I think she has two, and is very familiar with this Yorkie problem. She actually took Max home because he had to be fed every 3 hours from a syringe. And at the time, um, I had to do a lot of traveling. I'm a pastor. I'm an author. Um, I have a couple blogs, text blogs, and I had a trip already planned, and I just could. Plus, I mean, my youngest kid is 11. My overnight babying thing that has long passed. So she was trying to find, most importantly, something that he would eat. He wouldn't eat dog food. He wouldn't eat regular food. He just wouldn't eat. So she introduced him to strawberry yogurt. He ate it right up in the syringe. He still wouldn't eat it on his own. But if we squirt it in his mouth, he wouldn't spit it out. And after a couple of weeks of that, then we introduced the soft food until it was mostly soft food, and went on from there. And he got strong. Um, but again, because he almost died like 3 times, he was having seizures and this and that, I kept him close to me. And I have to believe that that has a lot to do with their ability to sense when something's going to go wrong with me. Because, like Nemo, shortly thereafter, I had some more dizzy spells. Now, understand, I that year also lost my health insurance, so I could only test to so far. Everybody's covered in my house except for me, and so I found great ways to maneuver through the healthcare system and get the attention that I needed for the immediate things. And everybody's been wonderful. Everybody's been great. And but I kept passing out. And like Nemo, Max didn't bark. In fact, he rarely ever barks. But he came visibly agitated and would try to get my attention. And it took a time or two before I realized that that was his signal of telling me what's going on. And so one day, after that happening a couple times in the house, um, he did it in the car. And I pulled over. Sure enough, I didn't pass out, but I was so dizzy. Um, I thank God. I don't know what I would do without these dogs in those moments. I'm a very busy person. To me, I'm a young person, not so much to my kids. And then the last time it happened, by this time, I'm in a regular doctor's care. Before, I would see one doctor and then another doctor, and it was driving me crazy. So I've been under the same doctor's care consistently. Um, and this past July, I had another heart attack and I had a stroke. So now we're regulating my blood pressure. Um, I don't need a stent or anything like that. I could use some more testing, but I can't afford it. Um, but I'm being treated on different medications, and we finally think we've gotten the right balance. Some of it I reacted badly to, some of it reacted badly to other things that I was taking, and I think right now we finally have the right balance. Because the last attack was the one I just mentioned. It was this past summer where I believe I had several little strokes, and it wasn't as harsh as the one in 2015. It wasn't as severe, the pain of the attack, but it was a close second. But I haven't had a problem that I'm aware of to that degree for quite some time. And so, as recently, well, let me go back to the medications not being in balance. When I was having reactions, I would vomit. And on one of those occasions, I was in my room and I vomited. I didn't think anything of it because I'd been doing it every day for for a while they were trying to change the dosages and that. And my daughter came into the room and she said, Mommy, what's wrong? They're aware of my health issues. And I said, nothing, honey. I just vomited. That's all. It's no big deal. And I'm coughing and trying to clear my throat. And a couple minutes later, she came back in and she's staring at me. Probably because she didn't believe me, because I kind of kept it from them for a good little while. And I said, well, what is it? What's wrong? And she said, I don't know, but Max came in and he got me. And I said, what do you mean he got you? He came in and he got me. He barked at me and tugged at me until I got up to come here and see what was going on with you. And that just cemented it for me. So immediately, like I said, I began to look further into the ADA rules and all of that. And I found out quite a bit. As Max and I have gone out on our adventures, um, I've learned quite a bit. And one of the most important thing I've learned is that a lot of people in the government and in businesses, they don't know. They don't know what the rules are. And even people who train service dogs don't know what the rules are. And so that's why I wanted to start this vlog. I wanted to share with you what the information really is, what the truth really is. And so I'm going to get into the American Disabilities Act on part 2. But this was just our introduction vlog. Max is not being very cooperative. I keep waking him up from his nap. But isn't he a cutie? Isn't he the most handsome Yorkie you've ever seen in your life? All right. I thank you for paying attention. I hope you tune in for video number 2. Bye. Can you say bye? Can you say bye? All right.